A local blogger is forced to pay damages for comments about an area pride group and drag performers. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Courthouse blogger Brian Webster has been ordered to pay over $380,000 in damages after his posts on social media were deemed defamatory. The comments were about drag storytime events in the city and region. Justin Hardy spoke to a couple of the plaintiffs in the case and joins us now in studio. Justin, how are they feeling?
Ryan, they're just happy that this ordeal is over. Webster's conduct towards the plaintiffs was described as that of a common bully. The judge observed that the post created an echo chamber for hate speech, with some of Webster's readers describing the plaintiffs as pedophiles, mentally ill persons, and even suggesting that they should be subjected to physical violence.
To see the good guys take a win just even one time, it was a nice light in the dark.
Madame Justice Helen Pierce of the Ontario Superior Court of Justice found that Brian Webster acted with malice in his posts, where he likened drag storytime events to child grooming and pedophilia. Pierce condemned Webster's actions and awarded the four plaintiffs each $95,000 in damages for a total of $380,000, plus the cost of the proceedings. The plaintiffs include Rainbow Alliance Dryden, Caitlin Hartland, Felicia Creighton, and John Marcel Forget. Forget says she was overwhelmed upon hearing the news.
I was in my car and I just cried. I just cried a lot. I was actually just on my way into the grocery store and I just happened to look at my phone and we have a group chat and all I saw was we won. And I was just, I don't know, I was overcome with emotion. I was kind of shocked. It took a little bit for it to sink in. But overall, I was just really thrilled.
Webster's attempt to defend his action on the basis of fair comment was found to be self-serving and contrived after the fact. Webster had used emoji reactions to signal his support for abusive comments on his post. Webster's assertion that he was not referring to pedophilia when he called the plaintiffs groomers was found to not be credible. Another of the Thunder Bay plaintiffs, Felicia Creighton, says she's hopeful that Webster takes this judgment as an opportunity to grow.
I hope that someday he can find peace in his heart and that he can perhaps educate himself. We have been inviting him to a story time since day one. That invitation has never gone away. Education is what we do, and we would love to be the first person to put that information in his hands.
The Ontario Superior Court of Justice previously ruled against Webster when he sought the protection of Ontario's anti-slap laws. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
One person was sent to hospital this morning after a collision between a school bus and an SUV on Thunder Bay's north side. Emergency responders were called to the crash at the intersection of High and River Streets shortly before 8:30. Both vehicles sustained extensive damage. Fortunately, there were no children on the bus at the time. City police confirm, however, that one person was sent to the regional hospital with unknown injuries. There's no word yet on whether any charges will be laid. Two people from Brampton have been arrested after Dryden OPP recovered a stolen commercial vehicle last weekend with 186 kilograms or 411 pounds of cannabis inside. Just after 9 o'clock Sunday night, police were called in to investigate the vehicle theft. They came across it on Highway 17 in Revel Township. Officers found cocaine on the two accused before uncovering more than 400 vacuum-sealed bags of marijuana in the truck. The 39 and 44-year-old suspects are each charged with a number of offenses, including for stealing the vehicle and for intending to sell the drugs. They appeared in court today. We're heading into the final weekend of the provincial election campaign. Today, PC leader Doug Ford is out of the country again, making his second trip to Washington this month. He's set to visit Thunder Bay tomorrow morning. As CTV's Siobhan Morris tells us, the PCs are now the only major party that hasn't released a costed platform.
In a sprawling Washington Convention Center, Doug Ford is in premier mode, meeting with a handful of governors, trying to emphasize that tariffs would mean pain on both sides of the border.
What's shocking to me is how misinformed a lot of elected officials down here, how critical Canada plays in their economy.
Ford returns to the official campaign trail this weekend, heading to Ontario's north. The PC party says its costed platform will be out Monday. Two other party leaders took the wraps off their complete platforms with dollars and cents attached.
No new taxes and no tax increases. In fact, we're going to decrease your taxes.
The Liberals are promising $65 billion in new spending, with new commitments to build 90 schools, shrink class sizes, and shorten teachers' college programs to 1 year to tackle shortages.
That money is there in the budget. It was given away, but it exists there next year as well. We wouldn't give it away. We would repurpose it.
Hilarious! Marit Stiles began her day in a Hamilton Center, a traditionally NDP riding, but where Sarah Jama, the former New Democrat booted from caucus, is running as an independent in a city rattled by incoming steel tariffs.
My priority right now is absolutely maintaining and protecting Ontario jobs and opportunities here in Hamilton with steelworkers and all across the province.
The NDP platform promises $70 billion in new spending, leaning on tweaked taxes to help out. The NDP proposing new tax brackets for those earning between $300,000 and $500,000 a year, increasing the amount of capital gains subject to tax to 80%, and a higher land transfer tax for homes purchased for more than $3 million. A week before the start of Ramadan, Green leader Mike Schreiner spoke to members of Guelph's Muslim community at Friday prayer, expressing empathy for the suffering in Gaza.
I wish there was more I could do to stop it. But the one thing I know we can do in our community is to say peace starts here in Guelph.
Tucked into the Liberal platform, a bold promise to get to 0 deaths by opioids in 4 years. It's a vow without a real roadmap, but Bonnie Crombie says her party will follow the science. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Some of the candidates running in the 2 Thunder Bay area ridings took part in a community forum last night organized by the Chamber of Commerce and other groups. Candidates for the PCs and the Green Party have been turning down requests to participate in local debates, so the forum at Confederation College featured only those running for the Liberals and the NDP. Jonathan Wilson was there.
With no representatives from the ruling PC party in attendance, it made for a very polite evening at the college lecture theatre, with no verbal attacks by the NDP or Liberal candidates against each other. This community forum was not set up as a debate, but rather as a Q&A with questions posed by representatives from the area chambers of commerce, the Anishinaabe Business Professionals Association, the Thunder Bay Real Estate Board, and questions from the public that were submitted to the Thunder Bay Public Library. The chamber rep asked the 2 candidates for Thunder Bay Atikokan if they would ensure a significant portion of the 3,000 spots in the Ontario Immigration Nominees Program would be set aside for this region.
It's not just Thunder Bay, there's the surrounding communities all the way to Atikokan, working with them. I know we received a letter from one of our rural municipalities championing this. This is something that's key, and it's about bringing new people into our communities, growing our communities together. So I think it's a great example of something we can do.
These 3,000 spots that the Chamber and that rural communities have asked for are very important, and I thought it was very insightful that small communities and communities like ourselves were also looking at housing and wraparound services for folks that were coming to this area. We have the capacity in a smaller community to do that sort of hands-on.
Jason Razovich with the Anishinaabe Business Association asked the candidates from Thunder Bay Superior North about what they would do to address gender-based violence, specifically against Indigenous people.
In Ontario, we've actually been dealing with a pretty misogynistic government, I would say. Gender-based violence has been difficult to bring forward and resisted. And so even having the acknowledgement of the violence being experienced by First Nations women is difficult to raise. But we know that supports have to be there. We know we need to work together with the federal government also to make this happen.
We live in a very aggressive kind of violent community. We know we suffer from substance abuse. We also suffer from poverty, and both of those mixed together actually make for a terrible environment, especially for women and gender-based people that are experiencing gender-based violence. We absolutely cannot do this without provincial government help. The Liberal government will look at this very seriously.
The forum also saw the candidates answer questions about the housing crisis, the forest industry, and First Nations consent on resource development projects. Jonathan Wilson, TBT News.
Well, Thunder Bay is unfortunately a hub for human trafficking in this province. Some women and youth can be particularly vulnerable. The Coalition to End Human Trafficking hosted an event at Intercity Shopping Centre today as part of National Human Trafficking Awareness Day. Brendan Miller has more.
It's a crime that often flies under the radar, but human trafficking is an issue that plagues communities everywhere, including Thunder Bay. Because of the lack of awareness surrounding the crime itself, the Coalition to End Human Trafficking hosted this event at the Intercity Shopping Centre. There, we spoke to the co-chair of the coalition, Cindy Pay-Pompey, about their goals surrounding this underreported crime.
To provide more information and to let the community know that it does happen here in Thunder Bay, and just to have people help provide safety for other people.
Also involved with the coalition is the Thunder Bay Police, the Survivors Assistance Support Program, the District Health Unit, Delico, and others. They all come together to help foster a community, to bring more awareness, and help those affected by human trafficking. Pay-Pompey also stresses other ways members of the community can assist in stopping these crimes from occurring.
Even to provide information to the police or the Canadian Human Trafficking Hotline also is an avenue for people to go to if they suspect somebody's being human trafficked.
Local officials say human traffickers tend to prey on youth and homeless individuals. If you do suspect or see something, don't hesitate to act. Use either the hotline or website to contact police. Brendan Miller, TBT News.
A local cardiologist has been honored for her work with the Indigenous community and bringing attention to women's heart health. Last weekend, Dr. Alexandria Bustiani was awarded the prestigious King Charles III Coronation Medal. Bustiani made history in Canadian medicine by becoming the first Black woman to practice as an interventional cardiologist. She wants to encourage young girls to believe in themselves and follow their dreams. Today, Bustiani was at Bay Village Coffee to serve drinks, sell treats, and support the coffee shop's annual cookie fundraiser for the Northern Cardiac Fund. It wasn't her first time helping out with the fundraiser. She says it's an important campaign to her.
So it's super important for me because as a cardiologist, as a physician, I want to, like I said, raise awareness for heart health. We are doing amazing work here at the Thunder Bay Regional Heart Health Center. So I definitely wanted to support Alan in his endeavor at selling cookies. It's also Heart Month. So for me, it's very important to, like I said, raise awareness and push that agenda.
Bay Village has already exceeded its campaign goal, selling more than 6,400 cookies in 3 weeks. The heart-shaped cookies are available until the end of the month. All right, well, let's turn our attention to the weather now, Fiona. It was a very cold start to the day today, but it turned out to be pretty much a copy of what we saw yesterday.
Yes, and that is mild, seasonal, almost above seasonal temperatures in some cases, and I know you've put in your order.
Love it, yep.
You've put in your order for a very mild weekend, and I think Mother Nature will satisfy you quite nicely. May not last exceptionally long, but it is going to be mild for the next little bit. Today we had little bits of snow start to move in, but not enough that we're going to be hit with anything that requires real shoveling. It also has come with milder temperatures. Now, after an early morning wind chill of minus 27, this was just glorious today. -3 as your high, wind chills of -9, mostly cloudy skies. And although winds started out very light from the southwest, 3, 4, 5 kilometers an hour, in the last few hours it has kicked up. We've had winds gusting up to 35 to 40 k's. So a little bit more blustery this evening, but across the board, temperatures are quite seasonal. We've got -10 in Red Lake and Kenora, although wind chills are closer to about -17 up towards the northwest. They've had a few periods of snow as that system moved through. We've got clouds in Fort Frances, -6 and a wind chill of -12. Greenstone did have light snow for a few hours, just in the last 2 or 3 hours. At this time, though, we've got mostly sunny skies, just a few clouds here and there. Similar skies in Sault Ste. Marie with similar temperatures, well above normal throughout the northern portions above Lake Superior and the eastern shores of Lake Superior as well. Here in the city of Thunder Bay, big difference from last night to tonight. Our low tonight is going to be a very seasonal -14, although wind chills could still feel like -20. Just a 30% chance of flurries, and winds will continue from the southwest, starting out at 40 k and then tapering off as the night progresses. And that's just the beginning, because as Ryan put in the order, Mother Nature will supply with temperatures that are going to inch their way up, pretty close to the freezing mark, if not there tomorrow, Sunday. Here's the one downside, though, with temperatures close to the freezing mark, we could be looking at a possible rain or snow mix, which is not always a good thing to have at this time of year, especially with the overnight lows.
Yeah, I, for one, though, am just happy to be done with the minus 30s for now.
For now.
Hopefully that's
There's still a possibility.
I'm still holding out hope that it's the last we've seen of them.